Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Fan Fanatic podcast. I am your host, Gavin, and this is your replacement critic, Josh from After
Yes,
Credits.
I am officially the replacement. No, I'm just joking. He couldn't make it today, which is sad, but I'm here and I'm ready to talk best looking animated films. I'm pretty sure everyone who watches Gavin's channel already knows me. But if you
Yeah.
don't,
I mean, most of you do, but it's like I've had new viewers recently, so I don't
yes,
think some of them know who you are. But it's like if this was on my old channel, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who you are, basically. I mean,
yeah,
you're basically the reason why I have the amount of subs I have today, so that's nice. And yeah, we started this whole community of great movie reviewers, so that's nice. And yeah, we finally got it to work. The thing is, how this community started is so embarrassing. I can't even say how it started out loud. But yeah, let's just get into. I guess start with your number 10, man.
yeah. My number 10, this time I'm gonna get it correct. Little inside joke there, is Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So yeah, I actually like this sort of stop motion animation with plasticine that they use because I don't really officially know what the first film I ever saw was because I was too young. But if I had to guess, I would say it's probably this one. And so I've been watching Aardman films. I mean, my first YouTube video was ranking the Aardman films. I've been watching these films for a very long time, and so I've got so used to this style of animation. And I watched like this documentary about them, and they partnered up with DreamWorks for a while, and then they left DreamWorks because DreamWorks didn't like how British they were. Um, and yeah, and so there was like there's a van in this film, and the DreamWorks people was like, "Why is the van muddy? Why is it scuffed up?" And then Arden was like, "This is how it is in Britain. You know, it's depressing. It's and this is realistic." And so I like the character design, like Wallace. Like look at his face. That does not look like a real human. I mean, it's
I
so
mean, I
weird.
don't think it's supposed to look like a real human.
Exactly, and the fact that his mouth can extend like this just creates for such an expressive and funny character that I have loved for a very long time.
Mm. You always complain about how bad your first video is. Mine's off the internet for a reason, but my number 10 is Tangled. This is honestly just as much as I say the revival era is massively overrated and I hate new Disney. This is when Disney was good, sort of, kind of. I think the animation is phenomenal. It is great. It's just colorful. The scene with the lamps, like that, just that whole sequence is just, it's just colorized with yellow. And then the thing is, when you see that when they cut her hair, you notice like how it's sort of dark and then how it's bright. It's just little things like that you're able to notice in animated films. I really like, so it works for me.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. So, coming in ninth place for today is come on, change Toy Story 4. So I'm not the biggest fan of this film as a film, and I'm not gonna get into that now because probably for a different video, but you can't lie, the visuals for this film are stunning. Like the amount of color, and I just like the overall like color template they have and everything. Not template, palette they have and everything. And the animation, just the change from like the first Toy Story film, you could see such a big change and improvement because it's just so realistic, not to the point where it's photorealistic, but it just looks so great and there is such good attention to detail. And I watched this video where they put like really complex camera work into this animated film, and just that attention to detail for the visuals is really great. Not so much the story, but the visuals of this film are really great.
I mean, as someone who's has Toy Story is so important to me. Toy Story 3 is the first film I ever saw in theaters, so that means very important to me. I think they both kind of work with their endings, with the film they're trying to go for, and what with the film that they're in. But I will say one thing: Toy Story 3 for the film it was in, it was better.
Yes,
But
much
yeah,
better.
um, so basically, my number 9 is going to be a Ghibli film, which is from the best studio. That is definitely yes, Josh. It is. Number 9 is My Neighbor Totoro. I love Ghibli. I think they are the greatest studio ever. Not greatest anime studio, not greatest animated studio. I think they are the greatest studio of all time. Mostly because of the fact they have not made a bad movie, in my opinion. I have not seen a of the films. out of all the films I've seen from them, I've not seen a bad movie from them. I mean, I've seen all of their movies, and none of them are bad in my eyes. So it's just the way that it's just kind of like 80s aesthetic, like it's like from the 80s, but it just looks so amazing and just brightly colored and brightly animated, and with some of the trippy visuals when the sort of creature that's named Totoro, and just like the stuff with that, the interesting visuals they do with that sort of thing, just I love the visuals. They're just so great. I know this is sort of more than the animation standpoint of the movement, but just the movement of the characters I think is phenomenal as well. I just love this movie, and I just love Ghibli, and I think they're an extremely overlooked studio. And every time when I said that they're the greatest anime and studio of all time, and said they're better than Pixar, let's just say I did not have happy comments, but um, I still stand by that. By the way,
Yeah, I've only ever seen one anime film, Spirited
yeah.
Away, and the visuals they were quite cool. I mean, there's nothing special about it, but it's probably
Mm.
my favorite thing about the film.
Yeah, honestly, the thing is that with that movie is I don't think that should be anyone's introduction into this because they're just gonna think, oh, it's weird, I'll get away from it. But it's just like, in my opinion, I think you should. I think what should happen is you should try to. I'd recommend something like My Neighbor Totoro or When Marnie Was There, and those sort of things, just to sort of get into it more. Everyone just picked Spirited Away just because it won Best Animated Feature. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it also won Best. I think it might have won Best Picture or something like
No.
that. I might be wrong. Oh, it didn't win Best. Well, it won Best Animated Feature, and everyone says like, "Oh, that's like the greatest animated movie of all time." I'm just like, honestly, I think it's pretty overrated. I mean, it's amazing, but I don't think it's like. I don't even think it's one of the best from the studio. I don't think it's like top 5 best from the studio either. But I still love it. I just don't think
Yeah,
it's
I
like as
mean
great
that's
as
the
a lot of
reason.
people say.
That's the reason I first watched it because obviously like best animated feature. You know, might as well check it out, see what it's like.
Yeah, and like
But
that's everyone's like every time I ask somebody, hey, what do you I like try to recommend them like I try to say when they tell me they're gonna get an anime, they always say they're gonna pick like Spirited Away or and like mostly Spirited Away is like the one that everyone gets into. I'm like, I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's like you're just gonna think it's weird and you're just gonna get away from it. That's what's normally gonna happen. So
okay, I'll rewatch your ranking maybe or some other Ghibli films to get some recommendations.
yeah, okay.
Okay, but coming in eighth place for me today is Missing Link. So this film is an animated film that came out in 2019, and personally, I think it should have won Best Animated Feature. I'm pretty sure it may have won at the Golden Globes, but it didn't win at the main Oscars. And I'm not going to touch on the story, but like the visuals, the thing I like about this is it's stop motion animation. So it's real light hitting real objects. You're seeing real things from our world portrayed in this smaller mini world. And to see the movement of these characters, it's just really great. And it also allows you to have, like most animated films, over exaggerated, just great visuals. Like you have the bluish green of the forest, you have the red orangey like landscapes, and then the thing at the end with the ice palace, I just really like the aesthetic of that and think it looks really great, and just the character design is amazing. And I follow the Leica Studios Instagram account, and I see lots of behind the scenes of how they made this film and the others, and it's just so much like detail and care goes into this to make it just look really amazing, and I think it pays off.
I've other things with Leica is I'm more like normally someone that just like when I was a kid I watched all animated movies, but Leica was like one of those ones I never watched. I mean, I watched Coraline like maybe once in my life. I don't remember it. I don't remember Coraline at all. So it's kind of just like I just don't remember it. It's not like I just don't. The only one I remember is the Box Trolls, like that one, and just like that's it. I only remember that one because I watched it a ton as a kid, and that's it. That's all I remember from that studio. So.
Yeah. um that's your go, actually. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, my number 8 is The Lion King. Just the landscapes of how it looks in Africa are just amazing. It mixes orange, yellow, and red all into just makes it looks great. The movie as a whole is just phenomenal, and just the way they just made Africa look like a fairy tale, and they just somehow made it and just crafted it so very well, and it made just one of the best animated looking futures today. It's by far the most influential Disney movie, and it's just unlike Spirited Away, where that's like the Ghibli movie everyone references. This with Disney, it's like their icon. It's like just amazing. As much as I think it's not my favorite, I still think it's the best Disney movie.
Well, we clearly have very similar taste because my number 7 is also The Lion King. Like you said, yeah, I just love the visuals, the orange and the reddish hue of like the sky and everything. And I think the best thing visually in this film is that opening scene, the circle of life, because you have like the pinkish, sort of the greenish. You have every color and every pigment of that color that you can possibly imagine just put into this great landscape, and you see the golden orange sun just as the first shot of the film. It's just got great visuals, and even just like the way the characters move and are designed, and like the iconic shot of Rafiki holding up
Oh yeah.
Simba. I just think is really good, and I like when Pumbaa, Timon, and what's his name, Simba are walking across the log, and you see him grow up. I just think it's just amazing, and it creates some really iconic shots. Also in the final battle when Simba and Scar just like jump at each other. Well, it's not raining yet, but there's fire everywhere. They're roaring. It's got great visuals. Just yeah.
Yeah. My number 7 is Sleeping Beauty. This is the only silver age movie you'll see in this list. As much as I love Peter Pan, it doesn't have like the great best looking animation of all time or whatever. But I just absolutely love the animation. Just the way it looks for like the people that I guess good you would say, and just there's just the animation for them is sort of more brightly colored. But when you look at Maleficent, she's just like it's just dark. It's sort of greenish. It looks great, and just the way they're able to separate that, and just the fire coming out of the dragon, how it looks green and everything, and just the wands coming out of the fairies, it looks more brightly colored. It just looks so great and just so interesting, and I love it.
I definitely agree with you about the green smoke. I think that looks particularly great. Now, this next pick is probably going to be slightly controversial, but remember, it is personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I never say that in my video because of the fact that it's just like, why do I need to say this? I don't
Yeah,
need to because of the fact that it's just everyone knows it's just
exactly.
obvious. But of course, there are some people in the comment section that aren't educated on that. But it's just opinions, and I think everyone pretty much knows that. So it's like I never repeat it a ton. So
Well, yeah, so I like the Jungle Book. I think I probably picked the worst picture to use as my background, but
uh,
I just like how it's like flat 2D characters on this semi 3D backdrop, and just you don't get much of a contrast between visuals between scenes because it all takes place in the jungle. But I still think it's really great. I just like seeing how like the trees with all like the roots and everything is just drawn in. King Louis and what's his name, Shere Khan. I think they have like the two best character designs in this film because King Louis's arms just extend like Mr. Fantastic or something, and they're just really great. And Shere Khan just creates this menacing, like sort of cunning villain. And of course, like the voice actors, you can give credit to them, but I think the visuals is what really sells the character. Now, I think either they reused animation from this film in Robin Hood and 101 Dalmatians, or I can't remember which films came out. But animation, Disney sort of like used animation from one of their other films in others. I think that's a bit of a cheap move, like when they did that in Superman or something. But I just still like the movement and visuals of these characters and settings.
okay, my number 6 is Coco. I mean, you have to have like a couple Pixar movies on this list, or that's when people start pulling out blades like The Outsiders. But I just love Coco just so very much, and just what they were able to just do with it, just the way that it looks, just the way the world looks, and just I don't know, just the way it looks is just so nice to me. It's just so brightly colored, and it's not really like you can explain a ton of why it's just so great. It's Pixar, and just it's so colorful, and that's like the best way to explain it. So,
Most people like really get annoyed when I tell them this. I have not seen Coco.
are you kidding me?
I know I still haven't seen it.
Get off of here now and watch it.
I started to watch it at my friend's house, but it was like a sleepover, and I just fell asleep because it was like we started it at about 2 a.m. or something, and I
Oh.
just fell asleep.
Why
Um,
at 2 a.m. though? That's like the most random time
and the
to
thing is,
ever
I always
start a movie.
complain like there are never any good films on near my birthday. It came out like very close to my birthday, so I had no excuse to not go and see it. But that's oh well. Anyway, let me make sure I'm getting my numbers right. I don't want to screw this up again. So, yes, coming in fifth place. I'm not sure if this would be controversial or not, but it is Madagascar.
That is very controversial. That
Yeah, I
is like
guess.
that's very, very. I don't agree with that at all. But okay.
So I think I'm not the animation from the first one. I get the animation, obviously, the quality of animation and everything, picture quality gets better. But for me, it's really the character designs and just the landscapes of, especially when they go to Africa in the second one. I just think that has some really interesting landscapes with the water, with the fields, with the rocks and everything. But just the character designs, it's so ridiculous. I mean, that's not how a hippo looks. So that's not how a hippo's nose is. But you look at it and it's really fun to see. And they all have this sort of squiggly line on their elbows or their nose. There's this squiggly line that just reappears in the character design a lot. And for some reason, whatever it is, maybe because I've been watching these films since I was like really young, I just really love the character designs. And the second one definitely has some great landscapes. So probably quite
Um,
controversial, I reckon.
yeah, I don't think I don't like the Madagascar movies very much. I think they're all just kind of okay movies. I don't like them. I don't think they're very good. I think it's the weakest DreamWorks trilogy by far. Um, uh,
Well,
okay, let's just
actually,
move
I
on.
guess, well, trilogy, yeah, maybe, but
Yeah, because you have to compare with Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know how you could say that one is better.
yeah.
But number five is Inside Out. I think what just makes this one just so great with the visuals, it is my favorite Pixar film. Even though there are some that have better visuals, it is my favorite Pixar movie. So I don't know, just the way they're able to make it look with just the distinctive colors of their personalities. Like if you look at the colors, it's like anger, it's the distinction of red. When you look at sadness, it's the distinction of blue. When you look at disgust, it's the distinction of green. And then joy is the distinction of yellow. It just has all these colors and mixes them up and just crafts their personalities in a way where it complements their personality. Even though they're flawed personalities, it just complements it in a very amazing way. And honestly, just it looks like the whole way it just looks like a kid's head so well, and just these core memories, the way they look, the way they're just brightly colored and distinctive to their personalities, and I think that what makes this film work so very well.
Inside Out, I'm pretty sure when I did my Pixar ranking, I put that second. I might still agree with that, I see, but it's definitely a great film, and the way they visualize Riley's head, I agree with you, it's just
Oh yeah, it's
phenomenal.
just
Just how they bring it to
wow.
life. I can't even imagine trying to do that. So, wait, hang on. 1, 10. Okay, so coming in fourth place to me, this shouldn't be controversial in my opinion, is Rango.
Yeah, that's definitely not controversial at
Well,
all.
in
That is.
the the visuals, like, just of this film, the hard reptilian texture of the skin, just the way the way they do the characters, like a lizard shouldn't be the same size as a cat, but I mean it is. And they have this town where it like revolves around water, and there's mud and there's dirt, and it's just a great western film with some like great landscapes, and the character design is probably the best thing because they all look sort of gnarly and
Wait,
disgusting.
Josh, I'm sorry, but can you pause it for a second?
Yeah, so all in all, I just think with the character designs and the landscapes, I know I'm saying that a lot, but I mean, that's what visuals really is. I just think the Rango looks really great.
Okay, so my number four is Onward. This is mostly, I think, the main reason why this is like at the top is because just of how updated technology is. But the visuals just look amazing. Like the way this, even though the world doesn't look very interesting, just the way it looks is just so very great. It just looks so well and just so very just amazing. Like I think that's how it looks, and just the way it kind of mixes purple and blue in an odd way is just amazing. And the character designs, I actually really like them. And just that ending scene, the visuals complement the emotions so very well. So
I mean, it's got good animation because it's the latest Pixar film, and I get what you mean. Like the blue and the purple does look kind of nice, like on the posters maybe, but okay,
I
you
mean,
know.
just that poster, just that poster alone just looks so great.
Yeah. Okay. So, coming in third place for me, this is kind of a cheat, kind of not. I'll explain. Is the Lego movies because they pretty much have like the same sort of like the Lego Batman movie, Ninjago. I know they have slightly different, but I like
I
how.
hate Ninjago. I hate the
Yeah, no, I don't
Ninjago
like that one, but
movie.
the visuals. I like how there'd been like multiple animated Lego films before, but they were pretty rubbish. And this one was the first to do it where they move the actual figures how real Lego moves. I'm pretty sure. Like in previous ones, their hands were
Wait,
going
they
all.
actually animated this? I thought this was just like computer animated, or did they
No, no, yeah,
actually?
sorry, I meant it's CG. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's completely
So,
CG, and
so
just
like
like.
the MCU movie.
Sorry. Ah, MC. Right. Yeah, I went and saw this like on my 8th birthday, and I just remember being so excited for it because, like, I mean, that's the point of the Lego movie. You know, they're marketing it because Lego is a popular thing. But I remember there was a scene with the train, and there was smoke coming out of it, and to see like all of these bricks moving to create like a flowing motion of gas, like it's so weird, but it works really well. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, I love how they use that piece to build this, and it's just overall really great.
Okay, well, my number three is one you probably don't even know it exists, and that's When Marnie Was There. And a lot of people just really don't really talk about this movie, and not really many people. Like, if everyone talks about the best animated films, it's like if you look at like the anime films, like the best anime films that are compete with every other animated movie, everyone just goes Spirited Away, and honestly, I think this movie's better than Spirited Away in a lot of ways. I think just the animation just looks so colorful and gorgeous. It looks so great. It has like a mixture of sort of it just like has just the way the water looks and just things like that. It just looks so gorgeous and it's so brightly colored. It's just I highly recommend it to everyone. If you're someone that doesn't like weird anime, besides the ending, it's not that weird honestly. It's not really weird except for in the ending that's kind of odd. But besides that, I just absolutely love it. And just the visuals, I'm not gonna spoil what happens at the end, but there's a very shocking twist that happens at the end, and they explain it so visually, just the animation, the way it looks in that sort of sequence, and just I love this movie, and just it's one of my favorite animated films of all time. I don't think this is just one of the greatest anime films. I think it's probably one of the greatest just animated films, or maybe one of the greatest films in general. So
Wow. I guess I should watch that one then if you give it such high
watch it.
praise. My number two, and a certain member of the critic community will be very happy about this because it is Fantastic Mr. Fox. This film, like, okay. I'd seen it like a couple of times when I was younger, but after Dominic started raving about it, I rewatched it like a couple of times because it's actually really rewatchable. And the color palette of the orange just used constantly is just so visually appealing. Like it's obviously very unrealistic, but just look at this. Oh, looking at this is just so visually pleasing. And when you see someone swimming, but you see like the way they shot, well, they did shoot it. This film is just really, I think, innovative and it's just unique and really great to see. And like I said, with the other stop motion films I've talked about, you see like objects that you wouldn't really think about using for certain, like they use cotton wool to be clouds or like smoke, and it's really creative, I think, and I think that lends itself very nicely to this film, and it just looks amazing and the way the characters move. You might not agree, but I definitely think it's worthy.
I mean, I like it. It's a good film. I don't think it's like one of the greatest visual looking animated films of all time. But I guess before I go into my top two, I guess I'll give like one honorable mention to The Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, if I probably thought about this a lot more, it'd probably be on here, honestly. But it's like we didn't have much time to do it, so I guess I'll just give an honorable mention
Can I
to
just
The
give like
Nightmare Before Christmas.
an
I
honorable
don't know, just
mention
the
to
way
it?
it's just so gothic. It's so Burton and I love. I think Henry Selick is the king of stop motion. So, uh, my number two though is Toy Story 2. So no, Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4. 4. I'll put the 4 up there just so you can see. That's what I mean. Uh, I love Toy Story 4's animation. The movie is pretty good, I guess. I mean, the ending it was better in Toy Story 3. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. But I do absolutely love the animation in Toy Story 4. I think it just looks so very realistic, and it just the lighting, the way it looks, it adds all these colors at once into one movie, and it's just Pixar really loves their purple, and yeah, it's amazing. I just absolutely love just the way it looks and just everything with that is just great.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. The visuals probably best part of that film. Before we get to my number one, I would also like to give a couple of quick honorable mentions to Shrek 4, best animation in the franchise. Prince of Egypt has an amazing color palette and amazing animation, and of course Ratatouille, because I love Ratatouille. But coming in first place for me today is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I completely forgot about that one. Honestly, if I remembered, it'd probably be on the list. I can't believe I
I
forgot.
just noticed Stan Lee's in that picture in my background. But this film, what it does so well is it brings a comic book to life. And I know you hear everyone say that, but it really does, because the way it's actually drawn, like you can see some of the shadows and the details are drawn like comic books. It's also animated in a different frame rate. It's 12 frames per second, so it gives you a more crunchy feel that crunchy is the word that they use. Like as if you were reading it right from a comic book, and it just has great character designs. The way the characters move when Miles does his leap of faith and his web shoot up, it's not just like it's like a weird, like sort of silly string kind of thing. Um, it's quite weird, but I just love looking at this film. I think it's been praised to death for its visuals, but it definitely deserves it. And also, my favorite character from this film, Spider-Man Noir, and the visuals for him, just yeah.
I can't believe I forgot it, honestly. It's like there's so many animated films, it's hard to just eventually I forgot about The Nightmare Before Christmas and Spider-Man the Spider-Verse would probably be on this list. Like, I mean, I think The Nightmare Before Christmas would at least probably be in the top 5, and Spider-Verse would probably be in the top 3 because I mean, just look at that on your green screen. It's amazing. But my number one is obviously 101 Dalmatians animation. And everyone else who tells me this is wrong, everyone who doesn't agree with me just doesn't know films. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm completely joking. But my number one is definitely one that normally most people wouldn't go with, and that is Your Name. It's another anime film. Your Name. It is another.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just so gorgeous, and it's just an animated achievement in and of itself. Just the way the skies look, that in itself is just phenomenal. And my friend actually showed me some of this, and he showed me a comparison of what the animation looks compared to real life, and it actually looks better than real life. It looks so much better, honestly. It's computerized, just the computer animation, and it looks brilliant. It looks brilliant. Every single scene of the animation is brilliant and beautiful. It looks so great, just so brilliantly done. That scene with the comets in the sky, it's just every single sequence, every single little scene is amazing. And I think there's very few films that are like that, where just every scene looks gorgeous. So I just absolutely love this movie. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I think it is I'd probably say the second best animated film. Actually, no, it's either second or third. It's in my top 3 favorite animated films of all time. But it's definitely it's not just one of the greatest animated films or anime films. It's one of the greatest films, and I think it's one of the biggest achievements with just the animation alone.
Again, another anime film I haven't seen that everyone tells me to see. Maybe I should. I don't know.
You should. You really should.
Okay, then. Yeah, I'll let you do the outro.
So yeah, you guys, that is the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll put Josh's link in the description, and this is after credit. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to my channel, not his, but in all seriousness, you guys, I'll put it in the description. I promise, I'll put your channel in the description, and bye.